Okay, we're recording. Okay, this video is for my friend Mark at Comcast in Chicago, and I've just been screwing around the last couple nights out here in my messy but effective workspace garage. And the problem we're kind of up against and what we're looking at doing is they're having battery theft issues. So, you know, my engineering mind, I can think of a million wrong ways to fix this problem. So that's what I've just been kind of doing, screwing around the last couple nights out here in the garage, coming up with a couple working solutions, or see what I can develop. So this is the first thing that I came up with. And this is just a basic bar, as you can see, and the concept is it would set underneath the batteries. This is not to scale, of course. Batteries are probably about that high, but 3 batteries is going to be wider than this. That's about 2 1/4 of batteries. But anyways, I wanted to show you this tip that I made here because of how this key fits in here. And I went to Lowe's and bought a couple locks after I came up with this concept, but you can see that it's got a little notch out there, and then it's got a slit in both ends. And so the idea behind this little notch is just to keep people from having a way to get your any kind of cutters or bolt cutters away from this bolt. So as you can see how that goes in there, kind of protects it. Now it does come up like that, but that's only because the other bar is not in here pulling it down. So from my other bar, hopefully this video comes out okay and you can see it all right, but let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, well, we're going to take our chances. We're going to hope this works. So here's one of the bars I designed, and as you can see it has a double slit here. It actually doesn't need this. This is for the far end, but then that hole here is what's going to keep this in place here. And this is just my first design. I was just screwing around trying to think of a cost-effective. That was really the main goal. Low cost. How low of a cost can we make this product and still have it function? So here's this lock. I think this lock was $10 at Lowe's. It was nothing. Also, I see a lot of people put 2 locks on things, and I don't agree with that. It's so simple just to make this piece to where it won't come out, and then only put a lock on one side, and you save half that money. So in this slot here, you can see you just put that through there, and it's not going anywhere. Actually, I'll put it this way. Turn it in that direction, or you could actually slide it in from the other side and slide it the entire direction, right? So you could take it like that and slide it the whole way. And then when it gets into this part, you can see where that hole is and how that will hold the lock down in place. Now, securing this bar to the battery tray is another obstacle, but that's okay. It's one we don't have to discuss right now. Let me get this in place just to show you. Hopefully I cut this to size. I think I did. Oh, maybe I got it upside down. Sorry about that. So, like this. There we go. So now this piece goes in here like this. And the elevation of that hole will keep this. Once I get it down. Click. Okay. So that keeps this piece from being able to get your bolt cutters around it. It doesn't move this way because this is holding it. So not a bad design, and indeed if it was sitting like this in the cabinet where the power supply cabinet or battery tray came out that way, you'd have key access here, and it would be really hard to get your bolt cutters around. You couldn't get them around the other side. So just thinking through how the door's going to open this way, have the lock on the right hand side, just thinking through some of those things, you can actually make your design more secure just by thinking about that stuff. Because if there's a door here, it depends on how far it opens, but you know, you're just causing them some problems as far as getting bolt cutters in there and such. But so that's not a bad design. That was the first one. And my second one was this. And what I did was I just took the cover to a lockbox, cable TV lockbox, and there's the cover of it, and it's a pull-off hinged cover where it goes like that. And I cut the sides off of it, so the key would go here. Actually, it'd be like this. The key would go here, and the thing would slide up like that. I took the bolt out, but I was just trying to make some kind of basic plate to set in there. and then it could come up on each side of the batteries. Of course, this is again not to scale, so the 3 batteries would have to set 1, 2, 3 would have to set right here. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you can see this video. Let's set here like this. 1, 2, 3. So that's that design. And then I bought this piece at Lowe's as well. And so this is, Mark will recognize this. I'm making this video for my buddy Mark at Comcast Chicago. So he'll recognize this. This is to keep your trailer hitch or ball on in your receiver for your trailer if you pull a boat or a trailer. So it's, I think this was 15 bucks, but push that in and it's locked and secured. And this key like that, pops it out, and there you're good. So what I did was I just took a piece of raw wrought iron, cold roll steel, I think they call it, or wrought iron, and I just took the end of it, as you can see, and made it shaped as close as I could get it to that piece. And sure enough, close enough, it works like a champ. So that wasn't too hard, especially if I can do it, anybody can do it. If I can do it here in this garage, somebody that's got some tools can really accomplish the task. So the concept with that was that this piece would sit at the bottom, and you'd have, 1, 2, 3 batteries sitting there and terminals like this. And so this bar again only has to lock on one side. Same concept I was talking about before. I think it's retarded to make it lock on 2 sides. So if you pull that bar in there like this, and then of course this isn't to scale, but say that was something like that, then this piece goes on here and locks. Sure enough, boom, that's not coming off. Now this is cold rolled steel iron or whatever. You're going to be able to cut that pretty easy with a Sawzall. There's nothing you can't cut with a Sawzall. So I've heard people say, all they got to do is take a Sawzall and get out there, and they're gonna cut your lock right off. If you got a Sawzall, you're gonna cut anything off. A Sawzall will cut. Here's my Sawzall right here, and I have a 20-volt battery powered, from Cobalt from Lowe's. This thing, I could cut anything with that. That's a steel blade. That's how I cut these things here. I cut right through that. So if they have a Sawzall, they're probably gonna get what they want. So anyways, just showing you this is the design, and this is just conceptual. Just playing around the last couple nights out here in the garage, and good reason to not watch the Kardashians on TV or whatever the hell Emily's watching when I could be playing with power tools. So there's that. Here's my subsequent idea. And after thinking of 100 different ways to do this, here's the back of the lockbox that I actually cut this top off of. And this top was 3 times bigger, but I actually went on there like that, and you can see this piece in here is where the lock is. This is what I believe I think is going to be the ultimate idea or concept right here. And so this thing, if you look, this is what you call a non-interruptible lockbox. So you basically have a plate that goes behind here. You put it against the wall, the MDU first, mount all your taps and cable and all that, and then this goes on after the fact. And the concept is you don't have to disconnect the taps and all the cabling and all that if somebody comes and beats the crap out of your lockbox. And so very popular lockbox, a little more money than the other guys, but just very, very well built. I'm proud to represent their company. We've been with them 15 years, and they don't mind when I cut their products in half, which is a good thing. So this is that product, and the more I looked at this, the more I thought this might be the ultimate design, because it does have these places where their PIM studs on the other piece come through, but that just really makes for a good place to screw this down onto the battery drawer if it exists. So what I'm kind of envisioning now is this same kind of design, but this would be only maybe 4 or 5 inches high. It would have these same holes in the back so you could screw it down, but then the size wise it would be big enough for 3 batteries this way and wide enough as 1 battery this way. So it'd be about that wide and about yay tall, and other than that it would be very similar to this. You don't need this part. The reason that this caught my eye was because of how this lock, all these pieces are interchangeable, and I'll get a new lock box out here in a second. But what you could feasibly do is if you had a piece like this could hook through here like so, or let's use my metal bar. So this metal bar could, if you had a appropriate slit or something, it could go through there like that, and then this would bend 90 degrees here. It would come across the face and then bend 90 degrees down, and then this, the original part with the lock on it, would be the third part, so it would kind of set in your piece of metal. The way I'm kind of explaining it is almost a U, so it would look like, well, if this was a bar and that was our lock on this flat part, that's about what I'm talking about. So this bar would fit down on top of the batteries, and then your lock would be right here, except probably facing outward, so this lip would go the other way. And then that would face and connect right down to that thing. And then that almost works perfectly, because then you get key exposure, and I'll show you the other one here in a minute to see. But the lock is actually recessed. Here's the lock right here. It's actually a Coca-Cola lock, Chicago. In other words, it's called a Chicago lock, but it's actually recessed, so you can't get your pliers in there around it. You can see it's got a recessed area. So, and it's not turnable. You see, it's flat, so it holds in there as well. So, I'm not gonna pound it too hard. I'm just gonna. Okay, there we go. So now you can see that it's recessed. Kind of can't get your pliers around it. But imagine that down here, but this lip coming out the other way. Now you've got the box I described a minute ago here, so not nearly as tall as this, so just maybe an inch or two tall. That lock in about the same exact spot. I'm gonna have to look and see how much room we have with the batteries and such. We may have to make a couple adjustments on that. But we could use the same lock, we could use the same material. All this stuff is in production. This box design, I could just tell them, you know, instead of 8 inches tall, all this is custom anyway. Just make it 3 inches tall and 3 batteries wide. I'm gonna go draw it up right now. But everything's in stock. Our boxes are $80, $90, $100 for a regular MDU box. So the product I'm talking about, I feel confident we can get in the $40, $50 range, because it's not half of the material involved in this box. You know, you're only talking about 2 or 3 inches. It wouldn't have to be that big. 2 or 3 inches here with a lock somewhere on it, and then a piece of sheet metal of some kind, or stainless steel would be a lot more difficult to cut. Even with the Sawzall. New blade, I'm going to make mincemeat out of something. I'd almost rather it be a flexible strap type steel material, so that, as you know, anybody knows that's cut anything before, if the piece you're cutting doesn't stay still, you can't cut it. So if this piece is wiggling, like if it's not secured and you're trying to cut it, you're not going to make any progress. So I'd almost, like an airplane wing, I'd almost like to have this have some flexibility in it, so that it couldn't be cut with the Sawzall or other type things. So I kind of like the sheet metal idea. But at any rate, just want to make a quick video for my buddy Mark, show him what kind of progress or things I've been screwing around with. Hopefully you can see this video. I'll tell you in a minute when I get inside. But here's the other lock box. As you can see, a full lock box with the key recessed and such. So that's a brand new one. And then there's my prototype. So thanks very much, man. Hopefully I made some good progress here, and hopefully we'll be able to work something out. There's my welder. I haven't got to that yet. This is too simple. Thanks much. Bye.